Now, you're live.
Hello, how are you? This is the international side of the program, and I assume that there are still those who are registering, or those who are coming along, and those who will be attending the program for tonight. I'm going to wait a little while until they're all come on board, and I have a special cameraman today, just like I always do, my son Nikolai. And I'm going to ask my son, do you see names of the people who have come on board?
One person.
One person. Oh, okay. You have her name?
No. I don't know.
No name. Okay. I'm sure it's one of the administrators. I assume it is. Could be. But I'm going to wait. In the meantime, while we're waiting, I am going to ask the cameraman to show the room behind me. For those of you who know me already, you know what I'm going to show you. Those who don't know me yet, I'll myself a little later once you're all on board. But we've had a flood. We've had a flood. I can laugh or I can smile about it now. On top of the corona, I know it's a tough time, we've also had a flood just slightly before the corona issue. I see there are now 4 on board, 5 on board, 3 on board. Okay, coming up and down. Okay. I have not introduced myself. I'm waiting for everybody to come on board. This segment of the video will be in English, and it's the international version. So for those of you who speak Italian only, well, you're gonna have fun watching me cook, by the way. So don't leave Facebook. You can watch me cook, and you can learn as well. Someone might be able to translate it for you. All right, cameraman, how many do we have on board? 5, 4. Okay, well, we're coming along. Okay, I'm going to start now. And slowly, I'm sure there'll be more who will be coming on board, and they'll be watching me cook. So, first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Alexandra von Hahn. And again, as I said before, those who don't know me, I am Canadian. My mother is Hungarian. My father is a German Baltic background. And I was born and raised in Chile as well as in Canada. Married a German diplomat, and we traveled in the Middle East until the last posting, which was just recently. So, in other words, my husband is retired, and I'm continuing with my work with regards to international cooking. Now, tonight is, as I said before, is the international section of your program. It's going to be conducted in English on Thursdays at 7 p.m., such as tonight. And on Tuesdays, I will be conducting the same program, possibly with different recipes or the same, however, in German. And I've been in contact with Gaetano. All of you know Gaetano. And those of you who don't know Gaetano, who are in fact just come on board as new subscribers or as visitors, Gaetano is the owner and the moderator of Bridges of Light. And I think we have now 11,000 subscribers or members. It's an achievement beyond anything, actually. And it's increasing exponentially. We're going to be increasing the number of subscribers, members, visitors exponentially for a very good reason. It's mindful. In other words, it's a holistic program, it's a beauty program, it's a health program, it's everything to do with mindfulness and caring about yourself and others. Okay, now having said that, I'm going to be, the name of the program today actually is Emirati Cooking, but the name of the recipe, I'm going to take the recipe from my Emirati cookbook. There we go. This is the Emirati cookbook. Some of you already know it, and you've seen it in the commercial or in the video clip. I'm going to open up the book now, and the chapter or the recipe that we're going to be doing tonight is called Balaleet. Very, very typical Emirati dish. Yes, that's right. For those of you who wish to have the recipe, I'm going to place the recipe after the program, or you can get in touch with me directly. Now, having said this, why have I chosen this recipe, and why have I chosen Emirati dishes? I lived for 5 years in the Emirates, in Abu Dhabi, and traveled throughout all 7 Emirates. And I came across a very good friend of mine. She's Emirati, and she said, Alexandra, you've been collecting so many recipes, and the time has come to convert the recipes into a book, which is what I did. But what I've noticed in every family whom I have interviewed for this particular book, the mindfulness was always number one. And what does that mean? It means the enjoyment of cooking, the enjoyment of the result of having cooked the meal, the enjoyment of choosing the individual ingredients for a particular dish, the enjoyment of finding out where do the individual ingredients come from. For example, what I did is exactly what an Emirati woman or Emirati men love cooking. For those of you who think that Arabic men don't cook, you're wrong. They cook fantastic, and so do the women. So let me just show you. I'm going to ask my cameraman to show you the spices. And Nikolai, I'm going to ask you to give an overview of all the spices. And the reason being that I've just asked my son to show you all the spices is I took time choosing the spices. And I took also time in going to the stores. In this case, during Corona time, I went through Amazon and chose the organic and of course not local, but from the Gulf area or from India, and also from Bangladesh, from India, Madagascar. In other words, I took time, and it was a lot of fun finding, first of all, looking and finding the spices, the unusual spices that I was used to eating in the United Arab Emirates. And when I found them, in other words, it was a feeling of, as I said before, enjoyment, and that's being mindful. You're having fun, and you're also delivering the same enjoyment when you actually use, or in this case, display the spices and then use them in the dish. What does it actually mean? The effect is, or the focus of being mindful cooking, or mindful walking, or mindful living, in this case mindful cooking, is to be in the here and now, to be present, and not to be thinking of issues, of diseases, of other problems, or the problems that you may have, or issues that you may have. When you're cooking, you're purposely going to focus or intentionally going to focus on enjoying setting up the dish, or the dish, in other words, the recipe that we're going to follow from my book. Okay, the name, as I said before, is Balaleet, and Balaleet is a dish composed of vermicelli. So for those of you who come from Italy or from anywhere actually, pasta is well known all over the place. Vermicelli, salty and sweet. The Emiratis like this very much. They have their setup as far as their breakfast, lunch and dinner is very different from ours. They also have the in-between snacks, and it's called fouala. For the snack time, they have 5 or 8 or 9 dishes specifically for the snack hour, between breakfast and lunch, and between lunch and dinner. And the Balaleet belongs to the fouala category. However, the modern Emiratis, and especially the younger Emiratis, they absolutely love Balaleet. And when do they eat it? Breakfast, lunch snack, or even for lunch, snack in the afternoon, or for dinner, or midnight snack. The Balaleet is extremely popular, and you can find it at most restaurants that cater to Emirati food in the United Arab Emirates, as well as in Munich, by the way, because we have a large number of Emiratis living there too. Okay, let me start. We're going to be cooking for 3 minutes. This is how it's called Balaleet, and it's composed of vermicelli. This is what the Emiratis consider as a vermicelli, which are thin noodles, either made out of rice or wheat. In this case today, we're going to be cooking with wheat vermicelli, or thin noodles. And there we go, for about 3 minutes. And this is also very typical Indian, the influence of Indian and Persian pot design in the United Arab Emirates. This is a small format, but theirs are very, very large. They're up to 30 or 100 liters, either copper, aluminum, or stainless steel. Now, we're going to stir this, and I would like the cameraman to come a little bit closer. And for those of you who've cooked pasta, I'm quite sure you already know this anyways, but it's so much fun to watch. So again, right now, even stirring, having poured the noodles or the pasta into the water, this is mindful cooking. You're enjoying the stirring. You know that the pasta that you chose is the one that you wanted for this dish. So just remember that. And this is what helps you to ground as well, to feel comfortable and to feel at peace while you are cooking. That's the whole idea. The idea that you're rushing into cooking and just serving anything, you know, on a rushed basis, that's not the aim anymore. We're no longer in that time. I know many of us do not have time, but we will still place the intention on enjoying, even if it's only for 10 minutes cooking. It's a 10 minutes of peaceful time. Okay, we're almost done, but not quite. The spices that we're going to be using in this particular recipe, I'm just going to rest this. We have another 1.5 minutes or so. The spices, oh, here we go. I'm going to show you. The United Arab Emirates, located in the Gulf area, they absolutely enjoy using za'afaran. Not any za'afaran. In fact, the za'afaran coming from Iran, known as the Persian za'afaran. They're a little darker in color, and when you look very close, I don't know if it's possible, you'll see the end is very, very thin and pointy, and towards the other end, it's slightly wider. And when you see this, the individual strands, they have to look like that, and that's when you know it's actually authentic. But even then, you still have to test. And here comes actually tasting. Now, for those of you who have never tasted or never smelled za'afaran, now you're going to go through a mindful, short meditation. You're going to visualize, and you're going to pretend that you're smelling za'afaran. So let's all do it together. It's slightly nutty, slightly acidic, very, very little. It's actually, it has a hole. In other words, it's a whole, it's a complete of fragrance. It's not a fragrance where you feel there is something missing. Absolutely not. It's actually complete. It's one of the most, if not the most expensive spice in the world. And I think that the universe had something in mind, and this is perfect. This is absolutely a perfect spice. Now, this here can be used for almost anything, but it's not really cooked with it. You just insert it, and it's cooked very, very short period of time, towards the last stage of the cooking part. So here we go. Our noodles are done. And I'm going to rinse them, very shortly. Here we go. And here we go. It's going to overflow because I have more water than pasta. And I'm going to discard this. So here we go. Okay. We're going to be using the same large pot. I'm going to now place the noodles back into the pot with a little bit of the liquid. Now, we keep these off for the time being. And what we're going to add now is the sugar. Now, as I said before, the recipe, I'm going to give it to you later, or you contact me directly, as you wish. So, now this way. I'm going to sprinkle the sugar into the noodles. Nikolai, can you come to the camera very close, please? So, and we're going to stir it. And just enjoy the fact that the sugar is melting directly into the noodles. And when that happens, I'm just going to leave it there for 1 second, and I'm going to ask my son to stay here. I will get another spice. Okay, now that the sugar has dissolved completely, we are now ready. Here we go. We're now ready to add in the cardamom. Cardamom, I'm going to show you the original the cardamom, how it looks like original, is like this. For those of you who don't know the cardamom, I'm going to teach another session on spices next time. I'm going to open the pod and I'm going to show you what's inside. But this time, what I have done, I've simply grinded it to powder form, shell and the seeds. And here we have the saffron. So I'm going to just simply sprinkle it into the pot with the noodles and stir it. Now I wish you could smell it. It's just wonderful. Once the cardamom and the saffron are in contact with the noodles, it just gives off a wonderful fragrance. Absolutely exquisite. And for those of you who will be copying this particular recipe, you will enjoy it very much. I am quite sure at any time of the day. Now I'm stirring it just a little more. Now don't worry, the noodles will not be destroyed at all. They're just perfectly cooked and they're not going to be destroyed. So there we go. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to cover it with a cloth in order for the steam to be absorbed by the cloth. I'm going to place a lid on top and put it to the side. And now we're going to be ready to fry the onions. Now what I'm using here is clarified butter, which gives it that very Asian, in this case Asian because it's very Indian. This is the Indian influence in the United Arab Emirate kitchen. Clarified butter simply means, they call it ghee, spelled G-H-E-E, and the milk solids have been removed. So for those of you who are lactose intolerant, this is perfect for you as well. In other words, ghee or clarified butter. And for those of you who are gluten intolerant, you don't have to use these fine noodles or pasta made from wheat. You can use the rice vermicelli. Exquisite. I've done it both ways. And the Emiratis are also suffering from the same issues, in other words, gluten intolerance and lactose intolerance. So we have both versions. We have in this book, in my book, we have the rice noodle version and the wheat noodle version. So here we go. I'm going to pour the clarified butter into the pan. I know it's a lot of butter, but I can tell you one thing, it tastes so wonderful. And since fat carries the flavor, this here has to be. And if you feel that this is too much, you can certainly use less. However, I'm using the exact recipe that the Emirati women like to use, and it's so wonderful. I'm not saying that you should eat a lot of it, but enjoy it. And that's mindful eating, by the way. I have to admit, sometimes I ate a little too much of it, and that was no longer mindful eating. But you know what? You learn with time. You learn with time. We're not all perfect. Okay, so I'm going to wait until this is heated up here, and I'm going to explain to you while the oil is heating up, or the ghee, the clarified butter. We use, in the Emirates, we use a lot of rose water. Again, the influence coming from Iran or from Persia. The Levant, or in the Levant area, they use a lot of rose water as well. The Iranians, they use rose water where they can, savory or sweet. Now the kitchen, or the cuisine rather, in the United Arab Emirates is a fusion of Indian food or Indian dishes and Persian dishes. I wish you were all here just to be able to smell the rose water. This is such a good one. In fact, it comes from Lebanon, by the way. All right, our ghee is ready. I'm going to just lower it slightly. And I'm going to fry the onions. They've been pre-sliced. There we go. Thank you so much, Nikolai. Thank you. Okay. Why are we frying the onions? The onions will be mixed with the noodles as well. I know you're going to think this is very, very odd. Oh, it's not. It's exquisite. Totally exquisite. And here I have a little bit of saffron inside. And now I'm going to show you. This is how the saffron looks like. You'll see the very thin end of the tail and the wider part of the tail. And this is the authentic saffron. To be able to obtain saffron or from Iran, you can buy them at any Iranian store. And for those of you who are watching from Canada, you can buy them at the Iranian store. Some Arabic stores have it as well, but make sure it's from Iran, from my perspective. And if you're unable to get it, obviously during Corona time it's a little more difficult, online. Online either through the Arabic stores or Amazon. The Persian za'afaran is far more expensive than any other za'afaran. And I must admit that I'm very lucky. My son, who studies at the university in Essen, in North Rhine-Westphalia, or very close to Bonn, the former capital of Germany, he had one of his colleagues. He used to travel quite a bit between Cologne, Essen, Bonn, and of course Iran. And she brought him many boxes. Nikolai ordered them for me. And those are my birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, and we use quite a bit of them. Quite a bit of the za'afaran. Mind you, this is extremely expensive. It's a price of gold what we have here. I use it, yes, I use a lot of it for my workshops and for my online workshop tonight as well. Okay, I'm going to put it away. We're almost there. We're almost there. As you can see, it's coming along. We don't necessarily want them very dark, the onions. There we go. Now, as if you're cooking onions or if you're frying onions at home, just gently stir. There's no need to conduct any breathing. You don't have to anchor any type of breathing with regards to meditating or thinking of mindful cooking. No, the mindful cooking, just stirring the onion and thinking about how the onion smells, and especially the smell of the clarified butter, absolutely exquisite. And that's the moment of, again, feeling peaceful and grounded. I think we're almost there. It's becoming ever so slightly crispy. Going to wait another quarter of a minute, half a minute. It's going very fast. The clarified butter is a wonderful carrier, flavor carrier, and the fragrance remains in the food. And again, as I said before, if the butter or the clarified butter is too much for you, you can use a little less, but not less than half. Otherwise, the flavor is not there. Okay, we're ready. I'm going to lower the heat, and I'm going to then follow the instructions. 1 minute. We're going to carefully toss, and my son will show you again the other spices. Okay, here we go. We're going to add salt and curry. Here we go. We're going a little bit too dark here. Curry. The curry is, again, typical Indian. And it's you can identify all the dishes in United Arab Emirates. It's virtually half Persian and half Indian. It puts a wonderful mixture. Never as spicy as the Indian dishes and never as mild as the Persian dishes. It's an in-between. Exquisite. Absolutely exquisite. Here we go. I'm going to add the salt and the curry. And the fragrance. It's just coming. It's wonderful. The smell of the curry. Oh, just exquisite. Mixed again with the clarified butter. It couldn't be better. It's such a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. And if this were cold, the flavor is just wonderful, as is. All right, here we go. And now I'm going to crack the eggs. We're going to add 3 eggs. You can add a little more if you wish. Here we go. Okay. And we're going to mix it. There we go. And again, the eggs. Mindful shopping. These are organic eggs, local, from just outside of our little city. It's a city of 6,200 inhabitants. There we go. Ever so slightly. Again, your taste.
YouTube.
There we go. And it's almost done. This is a dish that you can do when you don't necessarily have time to prepare a very elaborate dish. And this is just easy and so flavorful and so healthy as well. And again, for those of you who are concerned about the quality of food, which we all should be, of course, you can buy your noodles organic, your onions organic, as it is here. Everything is organic with the exception of the noodles, which I was not able to get here. We're actually short of pasta. You're not going to believe this, even in Germany. So I'm going to put this aside and just let it cool slightly. The next step is I'm going to transfer the noodles onto the plates, onto the platter. There we go. Okay. I'm going to remove the lid and the cloth. There we go. And by the way, I think I forgot something before I do anything else. I forgot the rose water. 1 minute. I'm going to check the rose water. Here we go. Okay, here we go. The rose water, you can either add it during the first step or last step. Doesn't make a difference. And it's about 1 tablespoon. Beautiful. It's and the roses, they actually come from Morocco and processed in Lebanon. These are, it's like a very light perfume. For those of you who are not accustomed to rose water, it's not heavy, it's very light, it's very delicate, very elegant, and you can taste it and smell it in the food. So while you're eating, you're actually smelling a lot of the rose water together with the saffron. The saffron and the rose water combination is used in many dishes in Iran. I lived in Iran for almost 3 years. My daughter was born there, and I grew accustomed to eating saffron with rose water in almost every dish. Not every, but many dishes. Okay, so I'm going to plate this. Very simple, very flavorful. Here we go. So the last batch here. Okay. And we have to decorate it, don't we? There we go. First of all, as the Iranians like to do, and of course the United Arab Emirates, it's an influence from the Persian way of plating their food. It's usually oval. Just a second, I'm going to wash my hands here. There we go. Okay, the plating is oval. In other words, you can see it here. And the food should be in such a way that you still have the rim free from food. And the eggs, they come on top. It's like a crown. There we go. This is just to show, it's actually to honor the guests. The guests are the members of the family. The guests are those who come to the family. And which, you know, this is the way to honor them and to show them they have taken time to decorate the dish. And by the way, for those of you who are living alone or staying alone due to the corona crisis, you can do the same thing for yourself. Take time to decorate your food and make sure that you have a small plate or a larger plate, any way you wish, and decorate it the way you like it for yourself. And if you've done it all the time, then consider looking into different ways of decorating your dish. Does it always have to be the same? No. Look at this. This is the way to decorate it. With almonds, again, the Persian influence, on top. With roasted almonds, whole almonds, if you wish. If not, you can use the slivered almonds just on top. There we go. Absolutely exquisite, isn't it? And last but not least, the raisins. And by the way, this is showing, this is a sign of abundancy. Doesn't mean that you are rich. Abundance means there's a lot of it. And there's quality behind this. And this is what it's all about. In other words, when you present it to the guests, or to yourself, for that matter, or to your family, you have taken care of decorating it, buying the food that is healthy. Doesn't have to be a lot. By the way, this platter is good for 4 people. And last but not least, what some Iranian families do, I'm going to sprinkle, this is very expensive, za'afaran just on top, although you cannot see it, but the flavor is just exquisite. And I'm going to now go over to the spice platter. And these are barberries. Barberries are, they've been compared to cranberries. The barberries are grown in many countries, also in Persia. Sour, very high in vitamin C. It's a power food. And you can fry it ever so lightly with a little bit of ghee or natural just on top of your dish. You're just around, just a highlight. Actually, Iranians like to put a lot of it, which is what I'm going to do too. A lot more. I have a little more here. And there we go. So this is your balaleet. Gluten, in other words, with wheat flour, and you can also make it gluten-free, meaning with rice, not rice flour, but rice noodles. Again, balaleet, and this is a beautiful, wonderful dish either for breakfast, for an in-between snack, in other words, between breakfast and lunch, or for lunch. And as I said, this is for 4 people. And as you can see, the butter is just not dripping anywhere. It's absorbed by the noodles. And you don't need any extra sauce at all. And it's eaten either for lunch, between lunch and dinner, for dinner, or a midnight snack. Okay, so this is part 1 of our show today. Part 2, I'm going to finish it very soon. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you again the spices. And I'm just going to recapitulate what I said before. And that is, while I was cooking, I was in the here and now. Although I was talking to you, it's a very conscious decision, focus, intention, saying, no, I'm not going to think of anything else other than enjoying cooking time. And it didn't take longer. I'm not quite sure how long it took, maybe 25 minutes or 30 minutes. It doesn't matter. The fact that you had a lot of fun doing it, or I had a lot of fun in this particular case, but you will have fun doing it as well. You will actually enjoy it. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to go and swerve a little bit into a different direction. I'm going to show you some of the spices here, which is very important. All part of the Emirati cooking. All part of it, the Indians use it as well, and the Gulf area as well as Iran. These are, they're called lumi, and lumi are dried lime, which in fact, if you were to have lime at home, you can dry them yourself on your balcony. Again, this is mindful and caring for your food. You can actually be sustainable in the sense that if you have a balcony, or if you have your own garden, or if you don't have a balcony, if you can dry them even in your room on the heater, if the heater is still working. In other words, if you still are in the winter season, whatever you're watching from, then you can actually dry these yourself. Excellent, exquisite in stews, or you can make your own juice, meaning you remove the inside of this particular lime. It's nothing else but a lime called lumi in the Arabic language, and you take the inside segments and just drop a few, maybe a half a lime or lumi, into a bottle of sparkling water. Exquisite. Slightly acidic. It's pungent. Yes, slightly acidic, not like a lime, not like a lemon. It's gone beyond that. It's gone to a completely different dimension. Earthy, pungent, very elegant. It's more in the direction of tobacco. And this is what happens to our food. It's a gift from the universe, from God, whatever you wish to call it. And it's absolutely exquisite. It's not for everyone. It's an acquired taste. I love it, but it's wonderful. So either for cooking, for stews, soups, or you simply drop a few of these flakes. To start with 1 flake in the beginning in a glass of sparkling water. Absolutely wonderful. And let it seep. Allow it to seep for at least 5 or 6 minutes. Then we have, this looks very strange, but most interesting. And I'm going to open it. It's actually compressed tamarind. Tamarind, again, is for the Indians, for the Bangladeshis, and for the countries around that area, as well as for the Gulf area. It's their version. It looks like a long bean and tamarind tree. They have the sour and the less sour tamarind, long beans. And in these beans you have 6, 7, 8 segments. And you will see you have these pearl-like seeds inside. They're glossy. And if you should come across tamarind, keep these, soak them in water, and allow them to sprout. And you can grow your own tamarind bush or tree in your own home. Again, being sustainable and mindful. Again, here, what do we do with tamarind? Tamarind you can buy either in juice form or in compressed, the inside of the tamarind bean, which is the best part, by the way. You take a small amount, you pour a little bit of hot water, in a glass of hot water, and you have your juice. And then you add that 1 glass of water in which you soaked this particular piece of tamarind, and you put it into 1 liter of water. And then you can adjust it. If you want a stronger tamarind flavor, then you add a little more of the tamarind. It replaces the lemon or the lime in those countries. But they're adding now the lime and lemon as well as the tamarind. The tamarind gives that complete flavor. You don't have the feeling that there's another flavor missing in the dish because of the tamarind. So taste it. It's a lot of fun. You can grow your own tamarind when you sprout them. So at this stage, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to the end of this program. It's done in English. It's part of the international section of your program. And I'm going to thank again, Gaetano, thank you so much for having the privilege to be on your program and being able to show my recipes from the Emirates. And at the same time, for all of you who have actually come on board after my introduction, Gaetano's platform, actually called Bridges of Light, now has 11,000 subscribers or members, and it's growing exponentially. All of us want to grow it larger and larger. So for all of you who wish to join, and the administrators will be in fact in contact with you, and they'll take care of you. And thank you again. And for those of you who wish to watch the program in German, I will be giving it in German as well on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. It'll be alternating. I'll be cooking and I will be interviewing holistic and spiritual coaches as well. Okay, and I'd like to thank everyone who's been watching. And if you have questions, please ask them on Facebook or contact me directly. And I can send you the recipe directly to you as well. Thank you very much, and to everyone, thank you. Goodbye.